Hey guys, Michael here from youtube.com/TheRevivedOne. It's June 1st and you all know what I'm here for, the recap of Microsoft's E3 event. I have to say there's a lot of content here, so let's jump right in. They started off the show with the Beatles rock band. They had Paul, Ringo, Yoko, and George's wife, I believe Linda. They took the stage and they basically showed off some of Rock Band, the Beatles rock band. They didn't show the entire set list, but it'll include Day Tripper, I'm the Walrus, Back in the USSR, Taxman, Here Comes the Sun, Octopus's Garden, Get Back, and I Feel Fine. The song All You Need Is Love will be downloadable content, and speaking of downloadable content, Abbey Road, as well as other undisclosed albums, will be downloadable content. The entire album will be downloadable content that you'll be able to play. So if they can expand that and maybe not include the entire Beatles library, but include a lot of the popular albums, maybe if they could get the White Album, as well, they'd have a really strong market and a lot of content that they could slowly release, and they could keep, fresh content coming from the Beatles rock band for a long time. Left 4 Dead 2 will be coming November 17th, and they also announced Crackdown 2. The premise is the city is infected with a plague that turns people into monsters, and you need to kill all the monsters, in essence. At last year's E3, they announced Final Fantasy will be coming to the Xbox 360. So the latest Final Fantasy, I believe that's 13, will be coming to the Xbox 360 North America during spring 2010. And that's a rough date, besides the fact that it's an entire grouping of dates. They're not exactly sure when the release date is. They're saying spring, could be later, could be earlier. Probably later if anything changes. A new Splinter Cell is coming, Splinter Cell Conviction. That we saw that game like 2 years ago, I believe, and then it sort of dropped off the radar. Well, now they're bringing it back. Not that it went anywhere, but they're talking about it again. Splinter Cell Conviction. Sam Fisher is back and pissed is basically all we know about it. There's not a lot. Basically, the only thing that's staying the same, similar to the other games, is the premise. It's going to be a stealth shooter. Other than that, it's going to be some really cool stuff coming out of Splinter Cell. Another interesting game, Forza 3, that'll be shipping in October, and it'll offer 60 frames per second with hundreds of cars for you to choose from. They originally said 400, but then they slipped back and just said 100, so we're not exactly sure, but we're going to have a nice amount of cars in Forza 3. And what's really cool is there's going to be a video editing feature, so I assume you can just capture, and it allows the user to create and edit HD driving videos, which is really just a pretty cool thing if you're into driving, and then you can upload that to the Forza community to share with all your friends, which is, really cool. And again, if that's HD, 60 frames per second, that's going to look flawless. Now Bungie came up. They made some pretty big announcements. Halo ODST, which is Orbital Drop Shock Trooper, that's what ODST stands for, will be coming September 22nd of this year. And the premise basically is players will be switching between the perspectives of several Orbital Drop Shock Troopers, and they'll each have their own abilities. So you'll have plot lines of each. And this is taking place around the same time Halo 3 took place, when we played with the Master Chief in the original Halo 3. So this will just be the story of several Orbital Drop Shock Troopers, which is actually really cool to get a different perspective on the events that we all enjoy from Halo 3. But Bungie wasn't done there. They announced Halo Reach, which will be coming in fall 2010, and it's basically the events prior to the original Halo. We kind of knew this was coming. There was some leaks, as well as a novel that is called Halo Reach, or it has Reach in the name, and we knew that it was coming, but that was before the original Halo Combat Evolved novel. So we kind of knew that that's what the premise of the game is going to be, but again, that's fall 2010. And when you buy Orbital Drop Shock Trooper Halo ODST, you get a free beta invite to the Halo Reach multiplayer, which is really cool. And even though I already plan on buying ODST, it's just another incentive, because I get a game and then I get access to the next thriller that I'm going to want to play from Bungie. Another game that was announced, the final game, or not the final game just yet, but Alan Wake, which is coming spring 2010, and it's the new long-awaited action game from Remedy Studio. And the final game is Metal Gear Solid Rising. It's a new Metal Gear franchise. The Metal Gear Solid franchise is finally coming to the 360. Metal Gear Solid Rising is coming to the Xbox 360, but it will not include Solid Snake. It's going to be an entirely new Metal Gear experience coming to the 360, and I'm really pumped about this. We're going to be having some new Halo action coming in, and as well as Metal Gear Solid, Left 4 Dead. There's a lot of exclusives, even though Left 4 Dead's not an exclusive. There's a lot of exclusives coming to the 360. and it's just going to be really, there's a lot of great content coming from the 360. But games were only half of the announcement. Last.fm is coming to the Xbox 360, and it'll be coming for free around the world to Xbox Live Gold members. No word yet on the release date. They're also improving Netflix support, so no longer is a PC necessary to update your instant watch queue. You can do that all from the 360, so any game, any movie you want, you can watch directly from that. There's also going to be live video services from Sky, and that allows you to watch TV shows, free TV shows in the UK and Ireland. It's not going to be available in the United States, which I think is the biggest market for them. And I'm a little bit disappointed about that. I would have liked to see something coming from the United States. But if you're in the UK or Ireland, this is going to require no additional hardware, which is really cool. On the topic of video, they're relaunching their video service, and it'll now be called Zune Video. This includes 1080p video. So no longer are you getting washed down HD content. This is full-on 1080p video, and they're also launching an instant viewing service for movies, for all movies and TV shows. So theoretically, you could watch a 1080p movie instantly. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work, especially because how can they say instant? Even if they're testing and the service can provide instant, in some cases the user won't have enough bandwidth. So I'm not exactly sure about that. But if they can launch instant viewing, that'll be really cool. It'll be launching this fall, and they'll be expanding the video store to 18 countries around the world. And going along with that, Live Party, all experiences can be enjoyed in a party. So you can watch movies, TV shows, listen to music, or game together with friends. So that means Netflix, Sky, Zune, gaming, you can all have your friends in your party, and they can watch you. It's really cool if you're watching a movie, because if one person has the movie, one person buys it, your friends can just hop in and you can all watch the movie together. Now the major thing, motion control. If you remember back a few weeks ago, I released a video that I was thinking there was going to be motion control. Well, Project Natal has launched, and that is, in essence, motion control. So no controller is required because it tracks your 3D movement. You are the controller. And what's also cool is you can use your own gear. So they demoed something where they were playing some sort of skateboarding game, and the user held up their own skateboard, held it both ways, it scanned in, and you were able to use that skateboard in the game, which is a really cool implementation of it. And again, they showed a racing game as well as a soccer game where you could just use your own control. So if to kick the ball, you kick the ball, so on and so forth. And it offers facial recognition, and you can connect with others to share, and connect and share with others in video chat. Voice recognition will also be included with this. And you'll be able to control your entire Xbox without a controller. So not just specific games, but on the dashboard you'll be able to control it with just some motion, just some gestures, which is really cool. And you won't need to buy anything special in terms of a console. You will have to buy an add-on, but all Xbox 360s will work with Project Natal. There's no word yet on the sensor bar, but they did show a sensor bar. There's no word on cost or final design of that, but just something to keep in mind. But again, you'll be able to control your entire Xbox without a controller on the Xbox 360 that you currently have. And an interesting thing, Steven Spielberg came up and spoke, and he said that 60% of households don't have a console. I guess I live in sort of a bubble, I guess, but I suppose if you think around the entire world, or in the United States we live in a bubble, but if around the world there are a lot of places, and I never really thought about it, but 60% of households don't have a console, which is an interesting thing. Another thing in the Project Natal lineup is Ricochet, which basically is just an environment where you can kick balls, throw balls. It's basically real-time physics, and it's just an interesting way to play. And also Paint Party, which basically you have a canvas, and throwing paint, splattering, using buckets, you can create shapes using your body that go in. So Paint Party is another real cool implementation of Project Natal. Another thing is Milo, which is basically a virtual person and environment. So there's a character called Milo, he understands you, he recognizes you, so different users can come in and he'll recognize different people. And what's really cool is you can directly interact with them. You can talk because of the voice recognition, and you can also hand things directly to them. So an example, the lady demoing it drew a picture, handed it to Milo, reached out, Natal recognized what it was, and Milo was able to take it and grab it and import it directly into his environment. So that's bridging the gap between video game and reality. It's really the next step towards virtual reality, in a sense that you can directly interact with the character. You can pass a piece of paper directly to him. Of course, that doesn't work the other way, but still a really cool thing. So again, thanks for watching. YouTube.com/The Revived One for more content. Twitter.com/Blue42Richman for exclusive content. Thanks for watching this E3 2009 Microsoft press conference recap.